Welcome back to the Crypto World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, the Bitcoin momentum is slowing down as the price of Bitcoin is currently rejecting from massive resistance, while in the short term, Bitcoin is on the edge of a major break to the downside. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin chart, and right now we're still in a larger bull market, so not a lot has changed over the last one day on this chart. The larger timeframes are still looking bullish, but if we're taking a look at the weekly time frame, looking at the weekly Bitcoin MACD, zoomed in a little bit, as we can see, we're starting to lose some bullish momentum in this indicator. So first of all, it's still currently looking bullish, it's just losing some bullish momentum, and the last time we saw this after a bullish crossover in the weekly Bitcoin MACD was pretty much exactly 1 year ago, in the first half of December. And so back then at the end of 2023, we started to lose bullish momentum after first seeing a massive bullish move in the price of Bitcoin after that bullish crossover, exactly like what we've seen over the last couple of months here. But what came next back then was around 2 months worth of sideways price action. That is right, sideways price action, a sideways consolidation that lasted for the rest of December, and for most of January, this basically just traded perfectly sideways with some volatility in between. And so technically speaking, this loss in bullish momentum in the weekly Bitcoin MACD still needs to be confirmed with at least a weekly candle close. But if this signal gets confirmed, then we could likely see a bit more of a sideways consolidation, or maybe even a slight pullback in the coming weeks. But once again, zooming out, this is occurring within a larger bull market like what we saw back then. We took a break from the bull market in the shorter term, but that occurred during a larger bull run. And right now, things are still looking bullish when we're zooming out, looking at the bigger picture. We're just losing some bullish momentum in the shorter term. And if we're taking a look at this 4-day time frame, at least for now, the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bullish trend. And if we're taking a look at this weekly time frame, right now the price of Bitcoin is exactly rejecting from this important Fibonacci level of resistance, sitting at around $102,000 per Bitcoin. So as I've been warning about since before we reached that level, we have a lot of resistance at around 102,000 approximately. And if we're looking at the weekly candle closes, that's pretty much exactly to the nearest $1,000, exactly where we have rejected from as expected. And so once again, we're still looking bullish when we're talking about the bull market versus bear market on the larger timeframes. But in the short term, we're still struggling a lot around that key level of resistance. But if we can eventually see a confirmed breakout above 102,000, ideally with weekly candle closes above that level, in that case, next we'll start heading up towards around 113,000 as the next major Fibonacci extension level. And also we do have this previous Fibonacci extension level on this 3-day time frame sitting at around 89,000, acting as strong support. So once again, trend is still bullish, but we're struggling around key resistance. And if we're taking a look at the 12-hour time frame, of course the price is still struggling here as we're playing out a bearish divergence on the 12-hour time frame, with higher highs confirmed in the price and lower highs confirmed in the 12-hour Bitcoin RSI. And so once again, this bearish divergence playing out means that the price is most likely going to struggle here in the short term, especially around that 100K level. We're simply just struggling here on the price chart. And obviously I've been saying this over the last 1 to 2 weeks. So all of this price action that's playing out right now was exactly expected. And due to the fact that we only just reconfirmed this bearish divergence a few days ago here, it's likely that this struggle here in the short term will continue to play out at least for another few days, maybe even another 1 to 2 weeks. Honestly, I'll not be surprised if we see a continued struggle in the short term like this for another 1 to 2 weeks before ultimately breaking out into the bull market again to continue that larger bull market, just like what we saw last time. Because obviously exactly 4 years ago, we saw something very, very similar with the price struggling a lot in the short term. We saw short-term dumps, short-term pumps, just chopping around sideways, playing out a bearish divergence on the same time frame, the 12-hour time frame, right around a key level on the price chart before ultimately continuing the bull market higher later on. And so as I've been saying over and over again here on the channel, just be patient in the short term. The price is most likely going to struggle for at least a little bit longer before ultimately continuing the bull market higher later on. And if you want to get set up ready to go to take that next major opportunity, personally, I take a lot of my trades right now over on Bitfinex. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Bitfinex below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link below this video to make your Bitfinex account and deposit on that account, you can get a 5.5k 5k deposit bonus, and only if you use that link, you can get an exclusive 10% discount on all trading fees on the Bitfinex exchange forever. But that is only available if you use the link below this video to make your Bitfinex account and start trading on that account. And also, in case you're wondering, Bitfinex is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But for whatever reason, if you don't want Bitfinex, there is also Bybit, which is another exchange that I personally trade on. And so I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link below this video to make your Bybit account, you can get a 500 USDT position airdrop. So basically a free $500 trade as your first trade over on Bybit. But that is only available if you use the link below this video to make your Bybit account and deposit on that account. But with that being said, taking a look at this Bitcoin chart on the 4-hour time frame, and right now the price of Bitcoin is on the edge of a breakdown here in the short term. That is right. We do have important support that we're running into right now, at least as of recording this video, which is sitting at approximately 98,000. But if we start breaking below 98k, we do have a small amount of support at around 97,500 and another small level of support at around 96,500. But especially if we start breaking below around 96k, then essentially below this area of traded volume, currently acting as a bit of support below that area, we have a gap in traded volume, as you can see right here, which means the price will likely move quickly in that area. So like I just said, if we break below around 96,500, give or take, below this area right here, would likely see a quick move to the downside down towards this next area of traded volume in the volume profile indicator right here. And this area of traded volume to the downside is sitting in between around 91,000 to 92,000. So just to sum it up, if we see a break below this support sitting at around 96,500 to 98,000, expect a quick move down to around 91 to 92,000 as the next area of traded volume, the next area of support to pay attention to if we break below this area. And of course, we've also previously found a lot of support at around 91 to 92,000. So once again, that's already proven as major support down there. And also we do have a bit of support right here based on these lows sitting at around 94,500 to 95,000. So keep that in mind as well. But once again, if we break below this area, expect a quick move as a likely scenario down towards the low 90k price range, which could possibly be a good buying opportunity if of course you're a long-term Bitcoin holder, because once again, when we're zooming out on the larger time frames right now, we're still looking very bullish despite what happens here in the short term. And if we're taking a look at this 2-hour time frame, obviously over the last one day, we broke to the downside from this triangle pattern, but then we saw a quick move to the upside, which technically now invalidated that break to the downside. So even if we ultimately see a pullback down towards the technical price target for this pattern, technically speaking, this pattern is now invalid because we saw candle closes back above this line and back above the point of the breakdown. And so obviously, if you entered a high leverage short position right here, and then the price just pumped right after you entered that high leverage short position, you might have got liquidated out of that short position, which was a bear trap. And obviously, I talked about that scenario playing out just yesterday before we saw that full scenario actually play out. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, right now we are starting to build some liquidity to the downside, sitting in between around 97.8k to 98.1k approximately. And we also just took out some liquidity to the downside over the last few hours, sitting at approximately 98.6k. So since my last Bitcoin video just yesterday, once again in a matter of hours ago, we did actually build a decent amount of liquidity at around 98.6k, which has now been wiped out. But as for liquidity to watch out for that has not been wiped out right now, that we need to pay attention to, once again, we have that area that I just mentioned, but below that, we have a little bit more liquidity at around 97.2k to 97.3k. And below that, we also have a bit more liquidity at around 94,500 to 95,000. But as for liquidity to the upside, right now, we technically still have more liquidation levels to the upside compared to the downside, at least in the short term here. So mainly sitting at around 102,000 to 102,500, and a lot of liquidity at around 104,000 to 105,000. And so essentially the price of Bitcoin usually, not always, but usually goes towards where there's a lot of liquidity. And oftentimes if we liquidate those positions, so if we cross on the other side of those positions right here, that causes a short squeeze if we're going bullish right here, or a long squeeze if we're breaking below liquidity to the downside. So just pay attention to those levels on the price chart. And once again, right now, we're possibly on the edge of a breakdown here in the short term if we confirm a break below this support. But zooming out, looking at the bigger picture, like I said earlier, we're still looking bullish on the larger timeframes. And once again, if you want to trade these moves in the price of any crypto, check out those links down below this video to claim those extra bonuses. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.